Shaun White is one of the most famous athletes in the world who burst onto the scene as a teenager. And his big break was the much talked about 2006 Olympic Games, where he garnered the nickname the Flying Tomato. And after his sudden emergence, he became the poster boy for winter sports, covering magazines, starring in commercials, and even gracing the covers of video games. But what most people don't know is that there's much more to his fantastic career and to his life story. Let's take a look at the lesser-known side of his career. What most people don't realize is that Shaun White is also a fantastic skateboarder. If you missed his gold medal runs at the X Games in the early 2010s, or unless you're a die-hard action sports fan, you probably wouldn't just know how good he was at skateboarding. Growing up, he was actually a prodigy of Tony Hawk, and according to reports, Shaun White met Hawk at a YMCA skate park when he was only 9 years old. White himself said that he was so scared to approach him, so basically he let his skating do the talking, which is pretty brave for a 9-year-old. Tony Hawk, meanwhile, made quite the impact, helping White turn pro in only 7 years at the age of 16 in skateboarding. And in the years to follow, White would go on to win tons of accolades, including the best overall title of an Action Sports Tour Championship, while dazzling crowds along the way. And at the same time, he was also carving his legacy as an Olympic icon, becoming the Flying Tomato. In 2006, he was the poster boy of the Olympics, a young, likable man whose personality was just as unique as his performances. He brought droves of new fans, young and old, to the extreme sports venue, and especially to snowboarding. And pretty much he was destined to a life of fame and fortune after that. And the truth was, he no longer needed to skateboard. He had a fantastic career going for him, he had the fame, and a boatload of money that came with it. But, as we know, action sports runs through his veins. And whether it was because of his childhood idol Tony Hawk, or just the love of the sport, he hopped back on his board for another run at greatness. Which takes us to the turn of the new decade. By the 2010s, Shaun White was well established as an extreme sports athlete, but no one really knew what to expect when he announced that he was going to be competing in the Summer Games. Would he forget what board he's on in the middle of his ride? Would he set too high of expectations for fans? Or would he even complete a run? These were all pretty serious questions that lingered until Shaun White showed the world he was serious. And after 2 average runs, he let loose and exploded on his third, seemingly with nothing to lose, dropping trick after trick during the process, and ironically, doing so in front of his idol and friend Tony Hawk, who was there to cover the X Games that year. His run won him gold, and he became the first person to win X Games medals in both winter and summer sports, showing extreme athletes that anything was possible, while extending his legend to even greater levels than previously. White would enter a few more skating contests, winning a silver and a bronze in the X Games, before finally rededicating himself fully to snowboarding. And he continued to snowboard and dominate for years to come in the X Games and the Olympics, adding even more gold to his collection. And after a nearly 2-decade career, Shaun White finally had enough of action sports, retiring after the 2022 Winter Olympics to spend more time with his friends and family at the age of 35. White laid down a legacy that compares to few, if any, in action sports. Ironically, White may be the only name that comes close to his childhood idol and mentor, Tony Hawk, reaping the benefits of standout moments and video game clout. And as for the future of his sport, we can say that it's going to continue to evolve and grow without him, but that Shaun White will definitely be impossible to replace. We hope that you enjoyed this episode of Famous Feuds. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and hit the like button below. And don't forget to let us know what you think about this episode. Hopefully you learned something new about Shaun White. I definitely did while making this. Have a great day.